Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Good evening. I'm Carl Schmuggy. I'm a professor here at Michigan Lutheran Seminary. I teach sophomore Bible this year. This year I'm also the athletic director for the first time. That's been done so faithfully by Professor Lecker, who took a call to Wisconsin this past year. So I'm learning my new role as we go on, and it's interesting and fun, and the best part of it is I get to help make things work for all these wonderful young people. So it's so nice to see them back on campus. It actually gets a little boring here during the summer. As you walk into school, it's too quiet. Now some quiet is good, but after a while you kind of miss them, and it's so nice to have them all back here. So thank you for bringing them. I'm thankful for safe travels for some of you that came from such a distance. But this is something new that I thought it would be a nice thing to try to do. I do this every year and I know the other sports have started to do it a little bit, but I've done it every year for football season. I'm the head football coach. And all the parents were here last Sunday as they brought their kids to camp. And it's just an easy thing to keep them right here and to go have a parent meeting and tell them some of the things that I want them to know for the football season. So I thought when I became the AD that maybe that would be good for us to do for all the sports, so that parents have a good understanding of what we want to accomplish here with our athletics at Michigan Lutheran Seminary. So we're going to do this before every major sports season. We'll do another one in the winter time and let those coaches have the opportunity to speak, and then also in the springtime before baseball, softball, and track. And it's also being recorded so that if you want to look at it later on, something you forgot, something you thought was important to know, or there is a parent that wasn't able to be here, we can direct them to watch the video that will be archived online on our seminary streaming page. So it's always good just to be reminded why we're here. Our purpose. The special purpose of MLS is to prepare high school students for the public ministry of the gospel, encouraging them to enroll in the Wells College of Ministry, Martin Luther College. So that's why this school exists. That's why we receive support from the Wisconsin Synod. That's why part of your dollars that you give in your offerings to missions doesn't just go to a faraway place like Africa, but some of it goes to world missions, some goes to home missions, some goes to your worker training system. So some of those dollars, when people give their offerings, like on Sunday mornings like today, go to Michigan Lutheran Seminary and Luther Preparatory School and Martin Luther College and Wisconsin Lutheran Seminary. So we have this grand purpose. Now, when I came here as a 9th grade student from Petoskey, Michigan, I did not want to be a pastor or a teacher. And now I've been blessed to be in the public ministry as a pastor for over 30 years. So God had a good joke on me when I came here. But I'm so happy he did, because even though I didn't want to enter into the public ministry, God knew better. And after all, we can't force any of these kids to go into the public ministry. It's God, it says in the scriptures, who gives us the pastors and teachers and evangelists and so on to serve him. So all we can do is proclaim the gospel, let the Holy Spirit do his work in people's hearts, tell them how cool it is to do this for a vocation, let them see joy in serving, and then give them experiences through our Taste of Ministry, through different trips we take to Martin Luther College, for example, experiences we do on campus, so that they can see the joy of serving others and the need to tell others about salvation through faith in Jesus Christ. So serving is one of the big things I want to accomplish through our athletic programs, that we're here to serve others. We're here to serve our teammates. We're here to serve our friends, to serve other people that don't know about Jesus. The coaches are here as servants. You need to understand that the coaches here at Michigan Lutheran Seminary do not receive an extra salary or stipend for coaching. It's part of our call. I've had some people come up to me, "Oh, congratulations on the promotion to athletic director." It's like, well, I didn't really get promoted. The salary is the same as it was. I just had different duties. So, but that's okay. In fact, it was a cool thing. After church today at St. Paul's here in Saginaw, I was talking to my former football coach, Lauren Dietrich. He wanted to know about the team and everything. And, we talked about, I don't know how that came up, but he was saying too, yeah, other people don't understand how special it is to serve here and to coach these kids. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't do it anywhere else. And if people understood what a joy it is to serve here, they'd want to coach here too, even though they don't get paid for it like they do at all the other schools. So our coaches, though, that's our mentality here. It's part of our call. For those of us on the faculty, we're here to serve. And we're here to serve with law and gospel. So that's the joy of it. Now, obviously, not everyone here, not everyone here is going to go into the public ministry. About half of our students go on to Martin Luther College. And so while not all of our students go on, that's still the purpose of all of our athletic programs, to prepare future leaders of God's church. That's why we're here. That's what makes this a special place. That's why you've sent your child to the right place. I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices you as parents make to send your children here, and for that I'm grateful. I sent 5 children through here, so I know how it is. And there's sacrifices you have to make. But as I've always told people, you're making an investment in your child's future that will reap dividends more than you could ever imagine. There's not a whole lot of places where you can come to a school where everyone shares a common faith in their Savior, and where the coaches talk about that. And where we meet here every night during camp, even for chapel at 6 o'clock in the evening. We'll meet here and sing praises to our God and hear him speak to us in his word. And so through that word, a lot of kids will be encouraged to go on into the ministry, and others, we pray, will be leaders in their congregations, lay leaders someday, to be those future administrative assistants in their church, or janitors, or Sunday school teachers, church council members, leaders of their church. So that's what we want to accomplish with our sports programs. Teaching them teamwork, how to work together with other people, and the joy of serving. I also want you to know that we will be encouraging our athletes to be involved with other sports and school programs. This is a good thing. Hopefully they only go through high school once. That's what I usually tell them. In fact, I usually tell this story with my football parents. Lots of times guys in the spring will say to me, "Hey, coach, I'm going to lift this spring for football, expecting that I'm going to go up to them like, way to go, that away, son, that's what I want you to get stronger. And I'll say, no, no, no. You go out for track or go out for baseball, or you be involved in something else. I don't want you just to be lifting. You only go through high school once, have fun, enjoy it. Be with another team. And one of the best things for these kids to learn is that they can be a star in something. Maybe they're really good in volleyball, okay? But they're not really so great in track. But that's okay. They have a different role to carry out in track or basketball. They're maybe not the star of the team. That's okay. They don't always have to be the star. That's a good lesson for them to learn. So they can learn from their failures too, as well as their successes. So I would encourage your child to do that, because we want to mold well-rounded leaders of the church. For the future leaders of our church, for our future pastors and teachers and lay leaders, we want them to experience a lot of things, and not just athletics. You know, my favorite thing, this is the gospel truth, my favorite thing is when I have the opportunity to hear the concert choir sing. And I'll look up there and I'll start counting, 10 of those guys start on the football team. That's the coolest. That to me is better than any victory or state championship. Because I'm seeing them share their faith in their Savior Jesus in song. And to be honest, as I get older, and you get a little bit more emotional, I think, as you get older from life experiences, I get a little tear going down my cheek as I see not just those kids, but the other kids that I have in the classroom. Like, look at that. That is just awesome. And whether it's concert choir or chapel choir or bells, you see them using their gifts. I mean, to me, that means everything. So I want these kids to experience the joys of being with other groups in school. And I think that's really important as we're molding these future leaders of our church. So let your child enjoy high school with his or her friends and encourage him or her to participate in multiple activities. And sometimes they'll push back a little bit and like, yeah, Dad, I only did that because you forced me to. You know, so sometimes that is out there by teenagers. Well, you know, I know teenagers like to make it's good, you want them to make their decisions, but they need some guidance too. So still be a parent. You're still their parent. And still give them that guidance that they need. That's okay. Okay, just a couple other things that I want to tell you about academic concerns. So, all of our students, if they want to be eligible, have to have a 1.80 GPA. But one of the things that sometimes gets overlooked is that when your child misses school because he or she is sick, or there's, you know, some other reason, maybe it's an appointment and they miss a quiz or a test in class, we give them 4 school days to make up their schoolwork, the quizzes or tests that they have to make up for class. So remind them that they have 4 days upon their return to make up those things. Otherwise, they'll be in something that's called academic detention. This is different from what we call period 10. Period 10 is a time to make up your work. It's a period right after the school day is over where they can go to a room and actually, you know, could I have Professor Schmuggy's Bible quiz from yesterday? I was gone. And they'll pull it out of a file, and it'll be supervised, and they'll take the quiz or test in that room in period 10. But if they don't do that within 4 days, and they don't have a good excuse why that didn't happen to make it up, then they get put in what's called academic detention from 3:15 to 4. So all of our, not all of the practices, but a lot of the practices start at 3:45. So obviously they're going to miss part of practice that way. It's going to affect the team, their learning and things like that. So make sure if they're gone, just double check with your child. And the nice thing about Infinite Campus is that parents, you can have a portal, an app for Infinite Campus where you can check and see if there's things that your child is missing in class. In fact, you can set it up where you actually get an email sent to you every afternoon that says, hey, my child is missing this assignment. I better check with my child and see why she hasn't done that or he hasn't done that yet. Because with academic detention, then if they are in that, they're not able to go to that activity that evening except for one free pass. We'll give them one free break. Okay, this is your little warning. You get a free pass this one time. That's what the policy says. After that, students forfeit their participation in extracurricular activities for that day, even if it's a game. So, sorry, you didn't take care of things in school. So, or the weekend. So, for example, if the detention is on a Friday and there's a meet on Saturday, they would forfeit going to that. Or if they're in concert choir and they're singing on Sunday, they would forfeit that. So make sure that your child is doing their work and making it up on time. Here's one of the main things I want to stress as athletic director is that we at Michigan Lutheran Seminary are a model for sportsmanship. And I put this in here, and this is one of the main reasons I want to have my parent meetings, because I've noticed over the last few years anyhow as a faculty member that I think some of the sportsmanship coming from the stands, especially in some of our athletic events, isn't what it really ought to be. And you know, I'm not some pietistic person that thinks that I'm always perfect in this, because I'm not either. And it's part of our, I guess, sinful human nature to react, right, to things that happen, like in the volleyball court, or you can't react so much in the cross-country woods. I guess you can yell through the woods, but that doesn't work very well. But it happens in basketball and other sports where we let the emotions, our emotions, get the best of us. So I think we need to look at that. It should be a high priority for all of MLS athletics to promote good sportsmanship among our athletes and our parents. So really it begins in the home with how we model that for our kids. And I know it's hard, you know, I'm a competitive person. I always tell people, you know, on my phone, I'll play euchre every morning on my phone. And I hate to lose in euchre on my phone. You know, I'm not playing against anyone, it's just my phone. It's like, ah, you know. So, or I'm watching my beloved Minnesota Vikings, because they were on last night. They did very well, by the way. I grew up in Minnesota. Yeah, you're watching the TV, you know, and you feel like throwing something at the TV, you know, because the official made a bad call. Like, how can you do that? And that happens in high school athletics probably more than it should. We all have our opinions. And not just about the officiating, but about the coaching too. Now, I had an all-coaches meeting and went over these things with the coaches too. Now, I understand as a former parent of kids in athletics, and my girls were involved. I had 5 girls. Well, I still have 5 girls, God. Okay. But I had 5 girls go through here, and they were all involved in sports, and they were pretty decent in sports. And, you know, sometimes as a parent, it even starts in grade school, I guess, you know, your kids on the bench are not playing as much, you know. My kids all played volleyball and basketball and track, okay, and softball too. And it's like, you know, I think my daughter is better than that girl. I mean, I'm happy that she can play, but why isn't my daughter playing more? And you start to kind of second guess the coach and things like that. So my encouragement for parents is to let the coaches be coaches. It's a difficult job. We do our best to put, and it's not always the best athletes that get on the floor, by the way. I tell the guys that in football, it's the best teammates that are going to work together that we put on the floor. So there's some good lessons for all of us to learn in that regard with our emotions and our opinions. but especially as we react to things that happen on the floor or on the court. We do not want to criticize or abuse the officials. Now, you have to understand, you have to come to this, you know, it's almost like I'm speaking to myself, too, as I say this, you know, like I've gone through official therapy here. But you have to understand that high school officials, some of them are not very good. They just aren't. That's just the way it is. And really, you know, the same is true when you go to the next levels. There's some NFL officials that aren't that great, we think, or some college officials. I mean, there's always officials in every sport that are not that good. I mean, I was a high school basketball official for 8 years. And to be an official, all you have to do is pass a simple written test. And I've been told by someone that now you can even have the book open when you take it. So, I mean, you got to know the rules, supposedly, and pass this written test. They give you a patch, and you're an official. That's all you do. They try to train you through going to scrimmages, and you start usually at the lower levels, like in grade school. But to be honest, there's such a shortage of officials across our nation right now that some of these young officials, they get moved up to the varsity level very fast. And because of some of the criticism that these officials get, I saw on Facebook there's one official that was posting things that parents have, filming parents yelling at officials. It's terrible. I will tell you one thing, officials love to come to MLS because they know that our coaches are going to be respectful to them. We hear that a lot. And I do see it a lot on the other side sometimes where they get berated pretty badly. But sometimes by our own, you know, stands as well. And after you hear that for a while, I know you kind of have to close your ears to that as an official. I learned to do it as an official, but it wears on you after a while. Why should I do this? You know, I'm running from my job to coach this, to officiate this sport that I love, to help out these kids, but, you know, I got people yelling at me all the time. I got better things I can do with my wife. So let's not fall into that, where we make their job miserable. In fact, many people are reluctant to enter into officiating because of that, and no officials means no games. And I went to athletic director orientation in East Lansing at the MHSAA headquarters, and they said it's already happening. I mean, now lacrosse is really taking off in the state of Michigan, and you need more officials for that. And so they've had some instances for some games when we don't have officials for you. So let's make their work a joy. Thank them for doing what they do, even if we don't think they're that good. And if you know of anyone, or you yourself want to be an official, give it a shot. If you love a sport, give back to it. Be an official. It's a great way to give back to the sport and to help out kids in high school. Matthew says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So that's ultimately why we want to have good sportsmanship, not just because an athletic director is telling you to, but because we have a gracious God who has saved us from our sins through our Savior Jesus, and we want to give the praise and glory back to him. And this is one way that we can do it with good sportsmanship. So cheer our team on, cheer everyone on the team, and be a model for sportsmanship, because this is what we do by the grace of God given us. Just a couple other little items, and I'll turn it over here, and we're going to break out then into the two different sports. But there's something called Score Stream. You can check it out if you have a smartphone, or you can go on your computers. This is where all the scores of our athletics gets posted on Score Stream. And we actually ask you as parents to be involved with that. So anyone can get the app for Score Stream on your phone, if you like to do that. And you can keep track of the score as it's going on, even with the volleyball match. You know, maybe there's some parents from a long distance away and they're like wondering what the score is. You can keep score point by point if you want to on your phone. You can take pictures and videos and post it on that app for people to look at. So it's a kind of a cool thing. And once the scores get posted there, we as coaches double check to make sure that they're correct. And then that gets fed into our social media sites, onto our Facebook page and Twitter page and Instagram that we have at MLS. So that's a way to keep up to date with everything that's going on with our athletics. Just a reminder of how our transportation works here for our athletic events. Athletes and coaches are expected to ride with the team on school-issued transportation to and from an event. Unless there's some special exception, please call my office. At least a day would be preferred before the event, so we can let the coach know that this is going on and the parent is going to take him or her to the event. And if you want to take them home from the event, each head coach will receive a sign-out sheet with names of adults that the students can travel with after the event. So that's something that you have filled out on TADS on the registration form. And if there's any changes that ever need to be made to that, you just call my office, and Christina Schwal, who is my secretary, she'll make sure that it's on the list that the coaches get. Because when the coaches get this list, it will say Emily Rothfuss, you know, her parents. Well, lots of times it will say you can just check any MLS faculty member or any MLS parent. That's what a lot of people will check. And so any MLS parent could sign her out and bring her back to school, or a faculty member could. Sometimes it's specific people like Grandpa Jones, or, you know, a family friend. So if there's someone in particular that's not on the list that you want on the list, please let us know and we'll make that happen. We do that because we want to keep track of where our kids are and make sure that they're getting to and from safely. Okay, I'm just going to go really quickly over dorm rules for our camp this week. Car permission. Keys must be turned into the IDO, so make sure that you do that. If you have keys here for a car, cars are going to be parked behind the second gate in the parking lot on Hardin Street. Only the player's head coach can give car permission. A head coach or a dorm staff member can get the keys for a student and write down who is driving and riding, where they are going, and when they will return. So the riders have to get permission too if they don't already. They can't just jump. You can't just jump in a car here at MLS and take off without us knowing about it and without parents' permission. Leaving campus is permissible with the head coach's permission. If they want to go down to Fuzzy's and get an ice cream, or Papa John's and get a pizza, for example, they can leave campus during the camp, but there is a sign-out sheet and a sign-in sheet on the bulletin board in the IDO that they must use, so that, again, we know exactly where they are at all times. Town students, if you're staying here, you must have keys to your dorm room during camp. Those should have been given to you already. And then town students should clean their rooms at the end of the camp so that they are in the same or / better condition, we should probably have there, as when they arrived. All trash must be taken out and floors must be swept. Keeping our perspective as we carry out our athletic program here. So this is, once I became the athletic director, usually my office was my classroom, which was great, and I loved it. Now I actually get an office with a phone, and I have a window, and it's like, wow, this is kind of nice. And I look out my window, and who do I see but Martin Luther? And, you know, he's got his hand out there like he's pointing right towards the football practice field and to the softball diamond there, so he's kind of giving a little blessing, I think, to our sports facility. I don't know. But, no, that's just joking. But it's really a great view that I have every day when I sit in my chair. I see, I was just thinking of that the other day. I looked there's Martin Luther. And let's take a look at what it says again on the, there's a lot of neat inscriptions on the base there from Martin Luther. This is the one I can see from my office. Let us keep to Christ and cling to him and hang on him so that no power can remove us. So that's what our athletics is all about. It's all about Christ. Hanging on to him, clinging to him, and then everything works out. He's working all things out for our good. We have forgiveness and salvation, and life is good. Any questions about anything that I covered right here that I could answer for you? Okay, Coach LeBear, you want to take your cross-country people to the band room. So thank you for your time. Cross-country people, if you could get up and go out the back door, follow Coach LeBear. This way the cross-country people aren't going to be in the other room, and then they won't get filmed at all. So we'll figure out, we'll live and learn as we're working through this. But I'm very excited to introduce to you our new volleyball coach, Mr. Alan Ash. He comes all the way from Washington, from Evergreen Lutheran High School, which is one of our Wisconsin Synod area Lutheran high schools serving the West Coast. And he has been a volleyball coach, varsity volleyball coach in the past. He's also been varsity football coach, varsity baseball coach, athletic director. He's going to be helping you with varsity baseball this year as well. And then he teaches in our science department. So let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Ash.
Thank you very much. It is a real pleasure to be here, and I've had such a warm reception over the course of the summer from the faculty and parents, everyone that I've met. So I've really been had a warm welcome, and I appreciate that. Just a little bit about myself. I just finished my 25th year in the ministry. My first 6 years were at Emmanuel, New London, Wisconsin, in 7th and 8th grade there, and then 19 years at Evergreen Lutheran High School. And of those 19 years, I coached volleyball for 15. Not all at varsity, sometimes JV, kind of back and forth between, but I really have a great love for volleyball, and so that's why I was happy to accept being the head coach. It was great this summer getting to know a lot of the ladies that came out for our summer nights, so that was a lot of fun, and it was a great way to get to know some of you. I am married. My wife is Virginia Ginny Ash, and she's going to be the attendance secretary here, so a lot of you will get a chance to meet her on a daily basis or see her around campus. And then I have a son named Jaden, and he is going to be in 5th grade at St. Paul's this year. So let's see. So let me quickly introduce the other coaches that you'll be working with this year, and I'll let them have just a little bit, and they can tell you a little bit about themselves too.
Jessica Shoreline, this will be my 2nd year helping volleyball. I also was able to help with JV softball last year. We've got 3 little munchkins at home, wife to Professor Eric Shoreline, who does all the crazy math stuff, so if you have any questions, ask us. Excited to be helping again with volleyball, and look forward to a good season.
I'm tutor Alyssa Mertz. This is my second year as tutor, first year coaching volleyball. For those of you who've been around, I'm taking over from my sister, so hopefully that goes well. I teach science here also. I'm looking forward to the season.
Hi, I'm Jody Baldwin. This is my 3rd year coaching. I am the assistant to the JV team, and I'm from St. Charles. My husband is a pastor over there, so I do look forward to a fun season with the girls.
So we will all be coaching the same program. We are a family of volleyball players and are really looking forward to that. So the plan is to have 3 teams this year, and I know last year there were 3 teams as well. The varsity team, and then there was the JV, 2 different groups. We have to kind of see during the course of camp what we're going to do exactly. We may have a varsity, JV, and freshman team. We do have quite a number of freshmen out this year. Or we may do what they did last year and have 2 JV teams, one that plays the JV games and one that plays the freshman games. So you'll find out by the end of the week what the plan is for that. That's definitely new to me. So, most schools that we play will have a varsity and JV. Some of them will also have freshman teams. There are some JV tournaments, and there might be some freshman tournaments that happen during the year as well. So we'll keep you informed in that. The games as they get scheduled, they're all of the varsity games and JV tournaments that we are currently playing in are scheduled in on the MLS calendar, so you can go look at when those are. We mostly play Wednesdays and Saturday tournaments. I think there's a random Monday in there too, but those are when most of our games are. All right. Unfortunately, when you have, I think we have 32 right now and a possibility of 34 ladies coming out for volleyball, that means that not every single person is able to make one of those 3 teams, and that's an unfortunate thing about that. It is definitely hard on coaches to make those kind of decisions. Our plan is to have that decided by noon on Friday, and we'll be letting all the girls know personally how they did over the course of the week. So we'll be watching for some different things. We'll be looking for players who have skills that fit specific needs for the team and the overall balance of the team. So we can't have 15 setters on the varsity team and nobody else, Emily does a great job. So, or all hitters and no setters. So we have to have a well-balanced team. We're also looking for players that have a good work ethic, people that are dedicated and are making practices and things like that. We're looking for people that are coachable. That's one of my top priorities, somebody that says, yes, coach, and doesn't give you a lot of attitude and things like that. So somebody that's just willing to work hard. So those are the kind of things that we'll be looking at this week as we go through. So our schedule this week will consist of conditioning and 2 or 3 practices every day, Monday through Thursday. On Thursday evening, we're going to take all the ladies out off campus. We're going to go to St. Charles and play some sand volleyball and have some fun there. I guess the girls did that last year, so that's our plan again this year. We'll be taking them by bus. And I just finished taking my bus class today, so I can drive it now. So anyway, we'll be doing that on Thursday. The schedule for the week is posted in the IDO. So you should be looking at that. We'll post it in the gym as well, starting tomorrow morning. That'll be posted so you can see, where do you need to be at what time, and it's real specific on the times and things like that. So if you're not sure, you can check in those locations. And before you leave here, I'll be explaining what we're doing the rest of this evening yet. You all picked up a team shop, a paper that we were given, and just a reminder that that closes next week, Monday, the first day of school. It's not something that you have to get, but if you're interested in some team gear, make sure that you, and it's ordering it online at Sandlot. So the sheet explains what you need to do. Let's see. Your coaches are always going to be here for you if you need anything, ask. I have sheets that I will hand out, and on there are our 4 phone numbers. So if you ever want to get hold of any of the coaches for anything, have questions, then feel free to give us a call. So the last thing that I wanted to do yet before we head into the gym is just go through some kind of team rules, expectations, and I guess normally they did it with just the girls, but I guess I wanted the parents kind of hear what it is that we're expecting of your daughters as well this week. So it's tryout time, and we will make cuts, and I said that earlier. We're looking for players whose skills fit a specific need and our overall balance. We'll be looking at everything you do, both on and off the court. It's not just what you do on the court. We need team players, both on and off the court. We're looking for a total package. Everyone has a different position on the team. This week will not be easy. And I didn't find out until recently that there were 3 practices a day. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. So it's not going to be very easy, but we put a lot of fun things in, and it's not all, like 9 hours of practice every day. There are a lot of different things that we'll be doing throughout the week. So don't expect it to be easy, but we can have some fun. And it will be tiring the first several days, especially if you've not been doing much this summer. So expect to be tired. He talked, Professor Schmugi talked about leaving campus. Make sure that you talk to me if you're wanting to do that. Be on time for practice. Make sure you're looking at the time that's there. Get up on time, get to breakfast. Every day we start at 8:30 in the gym, so make sure you're there on time, ready to go. Let's see. And then all the other practice times that happen during the day, again, make sure you're looking at, sometimes it's just freshmen and sophomores, sometimes just juniors and seniors. Later on the week, it might be those that we're kind of expecting to be on varsity and those that will be more like on JV. So make sure you're checking that schedule. Everyone puts up nets and everyone takes them down. We got a donation this year from someone, I don't know who it was, and we were able to get some new volleyballs and a new net and new antennas, so that'll be very nice for games. I guess in the past they had to put a lot of extra padding on, and we won't have to do that anymore, so that'll be nice. So anyway, but we all do that as a group. That's not a freshman job or something like that. I know how that goes sometimes, so. All right, no tank tops where you can see your bra or skin underneath, so make sure you're dressed appropriately. No spandex outside the gym, so like when we go to lunch, things like that, make sure you wear shorts over them. I have put into the time 15 minutes before lunch and dinner so that you have a chance to run over and take a quick shower, so please do that, okay? No one needs to fault the volleyball team for not smelling very well, so make sure you do that. We'll be taking drink breaks, but make sure you do that quickly. Make sure you have a good attitude, and it does go a long way. We're looking for players who are coachable, as I said before. Hustle, do your best. When you're in the gym, be in the gym. There are some breaks during the day, and that's your social time. Respect your teammates, coaches, and as Professor Schmuge was saying, the refs and the fans and yourself. Commitment and teamwork. Be at every practice and play the game and not for yourselves. We know that everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. Don't worry about it. Respond to those mistakes positively. Learn from them. Do your best. So take a big breath. I know this is a challenging week, and we want all of you to do your best this week and enjoy. Okay. All right, there are a couple more things from Instructor Mertz about rules for the IDO and extracurricular code of conduct. So she'll just go through that quickly. Do you want this? Okay.
So a couple things. Professor Schmuge went over dorm rules. Any questions on those? One thing to add, bedtime is 10:30. Bedtime means in your bed, lights out, phone away. You shouldn't have your phone with you. There will be consequences if you're not in bed on time at night. And I live here, so I'll know. Along with that, I live here. My apartment is on the 3rd floor, so if you need anything, anytime, I'll be around. I'll be at camp if you have any questions, or if you need to go somewhere and can't find one of the other coaches, I will always be here. So if you need anything, you can find me. And then just with the extracurricular code, to go through that, you guys, on here it says you are ambassadors of the school. So you are the ones going out, you're the ones showing everybody who MLS is, what we are, and you're representing the school. So just to keep that in mind. Professor Schmuge mentioned academics, but just to go a little bit farther, if you don't keep your grades up, there are two options. You could either have limited eligibility, where you are able to practice, but you're not able to play in games, because without your grades, academics come first. So we want academics to come first, and you're representing your school not only through athletics, but academics. So then that privilege of representing your school is taken away. Still get to practice, just not play in those games. But then if your grades drop even farther, you may not be eligible at all. So just a reminder to keep your grades up. We won't have any of those issues, I'm sure. So, but just a reminder for that. And then you are expected to be at every practice, but we know that things come up. You have doctor's appointments, things like that. You need to tell the coaches in advance. It can't be we get to practice, say, where's so-and-so, and then somebody tells us. You need to be the one talking to us. If you're not at practices, that will affect game time and things like that, especially if you're not talking to us. If you talk to us, let us know in advance. Everything should be good. And then, because you are representing the school, you are expected to follow the rules of the school and expected to do it better than everybody else, you could say. So if you are getting in trouble with the dorm or anything like that, you're performing in extracurriculars. If you are under school discipline, it's determined by the dean of students. So if you are getting in trouble with the dorm, if you get campused or dormed or something like that, it's up to the dean, but you might not be able to participate. Kind of goes along with those academics, or in trouble with in class, same thing. Deans have the control over that. So once again, I don't think we'll have any issues with this, but if it does, that will go through the deans. Next one is just be smart and treat your body well. So no uses of tobacco, alcohol, non-prescribed drugs, illegal performance-enhancing substances. You will not be able to participate if you're caught with those the first time. It is a minimum of a month that you're suspended for. Second offense, you're not allowed to play any sports at all for the year. But just be smart. You can't play a sport if you don't treat your body right. And be smart about that. Be smart about what you're eating too and drinking. Don't drink pop on the day of a game and things like that. So just all of that goes along with that. And then other rules, this will come more as the season goes on, but following the rules for curfew, dress, appearance, and those kind of things. So if there's a curfew the night before a game, make sure you're paying attention to it. We also dress up on game days and things like that. So following the rules, being a part of the team, that's what that one falls under a lot of. Be a part of it, join in with everybody else, show that you are supporting your teammates, and all of that. That's all that I have. Are there any questions?
So just a couple more things, and then we'll head out. During the volleyball season, I know that there is help that is needed to do things like line judging, and I know working with parents over the years, nobody loves, I want to sit in the stands and watch, but it's really hard to get matches going, especially like, I think JV, maybe a lot of you don't feel comfortable with varsity, but like a JV line judge, they'd rather have parents or school officials, things doing that, as opposed to having players be line judges. So if you could be available, if you could be around to help with those kind of things and volunteer yourself, that would be awesome. I really love line judging, but I can't because of coaching. So anyway, that could be a very big help. If you're around and are able to do that, we'd love to have you help with that. Lastly, I'm just, again, very happy to be here, happy to be working with our future. This is a way that whether a layperson or going into the ministry, they can carry their love for this sport and someday be future coaches as well. And that's a real special thing that I get to work with some future coaches. So, does anybody have any questions from me yet? There's one thing that we talk about is kind of the 18-hour rule. So during the season, if there's something that's you would really like to, he talked about playing time or anything else that you'd like to call and talk to me. And it would be great, especially if you're upset about something. It'd be great if you could wait 18 hours and then give me a phone call. If it's not something you're upset with, then anytime is fine. I don't mind talking anyway, but especially if you're upset about something, give it a little time. Professor Schwee talked about an 18-hour rule. That's what he has. And so give it a little bit of time, cool down a little bit, and then we can talk it over. That way it won't be so emotionally charged, if it is. Hopefully it's not an issue. But, so, anything? All right, well, I look forward to a great season and getting a chance to meet a lot of you parents as you come to events, and Lord's blessings on your season. Thank you. So, all right, so ladies, let's grab gear and head into the gym. Parents, have a good night.